All right, you know what time it is, man. It is time for 5-star matchups. And you know I'm excited about it. So hit that like button and subscribe if you have not subscribed. But now it is time to dive into these matchups, man. And the first one we got to talk about is the Steelers front seven on defense versus that Ravens rushing game. Now, the last time these teams saw each other, the Ravens rushing attack had over 200 yards on the ground. In fact, by Steelers standards, it was utterly disgusting. But when you think about the manner in which they were having success against our front seven, granted, the Ravens, they executed at times, yes. But the majority of their splash plays, their explosive plays that happened in the run game was more so because of the Steelers not being gap sound, not being fundamentally where they were supposed to be, and that's self-inflicted. If they can make sure they're buttoned up in terms of being gap sound this week, I feel like it's a totally different outcome in terms of that rushing output that the Ravens were able to have if we do what we're supposed to do this time around, baby. So, front seven, let's stay gap sound, pretty please, because we need you this week. But now, let's tap into that next matchup. And you know I'm excited about this one, baby, because Minkah Fitzpatrick, come on, man. He's coming off of a game where he just had another interception, and he's one of those guys that just, resides where the splash plays reside at. And that's what we need from him in this matchup versus Tyler Huntley. Now, when you talk about Tyler Huntley, no, he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not even close to that. But the thing that Huntley does well is he runs this offense and he protects the ball. But at the same time, him protecting the ball sometimes is a little fluky. And a lot of the times in terms of when he's throwing the ball, it is protected by their play action pass. Now, if we can handle our business in the run game like we talked about in that first matchup, this is where Minkah is going to be able to take advantage of this situation. When Tyler Huntley goes to throw this ball, he loves to target Mark Andrews. He stares him down. He doesn't do anything extraordinary in terms of his reads. But the reason why it's so effective is because of their running game. If we can minimize that rushing attack like we talked about in that first part, this is where Minkah is able to truly be a playmaker and just capitalize on the young quarterback Tyler Huntley making a mistake, because that is what he has been doing, but ultimately teams haven't been able to capitalize on that. But it will be critical for Minkah to do so on Sunday night in prime time. But let's keep it going, man, because now it's time for that third matchup. And I got to talk about our interior offensive linemen. Now, all my offensive linemen, I know y'all can dig when we talking that talk, all right? But I'm talking my center, Mason Cole. I'm talking the left guard, Kevin Dotson, and more importantly, James Daniels at the right guard spot versus Travis Jones. Now, the supporters of the podcast, y'all know we talked about Travis Jones a lot when we were doing the draft talk and coming out of UConn, and some of the things that made him really appealing was how fundamentally sound he was and ultimately his ability to play just a lot of snaps and stuff like that at a consistent level. And he's doing similar things in Baltimore. Now, granted, he's a rookie, but in terms of his ability to play the run, he wins the line of scrimmages and reestablishes the line of scrimmage a good amount of times. And he's just one of those guys that can be very disruptive if you're not buttoned up. Now, we know our interior part of our offensive line at times has been our strength, but they're going to have to make sure that they do not allow Travis Jones to reestablish the line of scrimmage and not allow Najee or Jaylen Warren to get going, because that's going to be critical in this matchup. We know Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith and how good they are, but they benefit largely from guys like Travis Jones and Calais Campbell in front, keeping those guys clean. Our interior linemen have to make sure that they win this matchup, man, and get Travis Jones out the way, so that way we can have a productive rushing attack like we are going to be needing to have this week. But now it's time for that fourth matchup, and you know I'm excited about this one because we got to talk about KP8. Spinning the block, coming back to the rivalry. We know how it went the first go around. He didn't get a chance to really grow up and play the whole game because of the injury, but now he's back and he's Visor Kenny. We know Visor Kenny. He hit a little different. Visor Kenny, double glove Kenny. He ain't gonna need the long sleeve. It's supposed to be nice in Baltimore this weekend. But either way, we need him versus this Ravens secondary. And the point that I'm talking about specifically is the turnover margin. Kenny has been doing an awesome job since the bye week of just minimizing the turnovers. You talk about that first Baltimore Ravens matchup, the 3 interceptions were really backbreaking in that game. This is one of those ones where we cannot allow that Ravens secondary to capitalize and make a big turnover, whether it's by our mistakes a receiver dropping it, whatever, or if it's by them forcing the issue, like how we saw in the first game where they were able to trick Mitch with some of the coverage and stuff that they did. But either way, Kenny has to make sure that he protects that ball, man, and just keep it out of harm's way. Now, I do feel like he's going to be able to have success throwing the ball against this defense specifically. But he has to make sure that he does not allow those guys to go and attack that ball, because that is what they do well. When you talk Marcus Peters, when you talk Marlon Humphrey, you talk Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, all of those guys can get after the ball when it's in the air. So stay buttoned up. But Kenny, do your thing, baby. Do your thing. But now it's time for the most important matchup on Sunday night's affair. And it's the battle in the trenches, baby. Steelers, Ravens, physicality. Our offense and defense line, we got to be the more physical unit for 60 minutes. When you're talking about that Ravens unit, you look at every game that they've won this year, they've been the more physical team. You look at every game that we've won this year, we've been the more physical team. You look at when we both matched up, what was the difference? It was 2 things: 3 turnovers and them being more physical. That can't be the case this time. We have to win that battle in the trenches, and it starts with those guys, man. Whether you're talking our offensive linemen, they got to be nasty from the start, man. Match that intensity. When you're talking about our D-line, our front 7, they got to come off the bus, matching that intensity, man, and just making sure that they are the more physical team for 4 quarters. If it moves, hit it. That simple, man. So I feel like if we can win that physicality battle, man, that will put us in a great position to be in to ultimately get that win come Sunday night. But those are my 5 matchups for this particular Steelers-Ravens Sunday night affair. But you let me know what matchups you're looking into, man. What other things you might be thinking to have our eyes, aware of on a Sunday night. But either way, I appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby, peace.